Hello everyone. You are joining me in my home office. Let me show you around. Here is, the printer, my swivel chair, all the pictures of my babies, and, my favorite piece of art. We can discuss that in a separate video, but you're probably all wondering, why did I invite you here today? Well, let me tell you. I get asked, not frequently enough. This isn't one of those, I get asked all the time. I get asked not frequently enough, how do I buy a house? There's the, is now a good time, all that stuff, but I don't get asked how. How does it happen? Once I find a excellent real estate professional to guide me through the process, once I get my financing, once I put in an offer, how does it happen? Well, let me tell you. Years ago, I was having lunch with a good buddy of mine who was extremely successful. He had started a number of different businesses, and he sort of sheepishly leaned over across the table and goes, Josh, how the hell do I buy a house? And it struck me that nobody ever talks about this. I'm going to talk about what it means to buy a house in California, specifically in Los Angeles. So you have put in your offer, you get accepted. Hooray. Now what? Well, there are three main contingencies. The first thing you're gonna do though, is get in your earnest money deposit. This is not technically one of the contingencies that I'm gonna talk about. It's sort of the, 1A. But within 3 business days in a standard transaction, you are going to deliver to escrow. Escrow is the third-party intermediary that sort of shepherds the transaction. You are going to give them 3% of the purchase price. That's very standard. So they hold that refundable deposit just so you have skin in the game. So we can proceed. It's called the earnest money deposit, saying like, yes, I actually want to buy this house. Now the 3 contingencies, the real meat and potatoes. EMD, cross that off. It is inspection, appraisal, and loan. I was never taught handwriting in school. This took me about 5 minutes to write. So, the real business is done during the inspection period. This is our diligence period. It is not just the physical diligence of the property where we're going to get all the inspectors in, the foundation, the pool if there is one, chimney, roof, mold and moisture, general inspection. In certain cases, we're going to get geo, where if it's a hillside, they're going to give like much more than just a foundation inspection. They're going to talk about, the shape of the shale underneath the house, for example. We're going to do all the physical inspections and accumulate all that data and really learn how to tell the story of the house. There's a lot of detective work that is involved in the diligence process. Additionally, we're going to get the city records, whatever's available, permitting history, violations if there are any, and all of the seller disclosures. Each seller is a little bit different, may know more or less about a property. If it is sold recently or if they have it in their possession, these sellers may have the original inspection reports from when they purchased a property, which they are required to give to us. So we're going to compile all of that information and learn as much as we can about the home so that the buyer can go into the home with their eyes wide open. Once we come to a conclusion about the home, we can ask for credits or repairs if there are things that aren't to our liking. And then once we come to terms with the condition of the house and what the seller is prepared to do to make sure that the deal still works for everyone, then we remove that contingency. Once you remove a contingency, you no longer have the right to cancel based on that contingency, which means your EMD, your earnest money deposit, is susceptible. So I always tell people, as long as you are within your contingency periods and you haven't removed a contingency, you are protected. But once you remove a contingency, then you may not cancel based on that. You can't remove your inspection contingency and then say, you know what, I'm no longer comfortable with the condition of the foundation, I want to cancel. You can, but then the seller has a right to some or all of your deposit. The next contingency, and all of these happen concurrently. The next one is the appraisal. Now the appraisal is something the lender is required to do. The lender is going to send an appraiser who is a third-party individual. That person is going to come and give their opinion of value. Now it's just one person's opinion, but this person is a professional. There's a lot of work you have to do to become a licensed appraiser. I think it's something like 2,000 hours of apprenticeship just to get your license. So the appraiser is a professional and has a very well thought out methodology. They're certainly not perfect, and sometimes you get an appraisal that comes in a little higher. Most often it's right, especially in this market, it's right at the offer price, but you do get low appraisals, which again, in this market, It can happen more often because prices are rising rapidly. If you maintain your appraisal contingency and the property does not appraise, then you can come back to the seller and say, look, I would like to cancel based on the appraisal, or there's a chance to renegotiate based on that appraised value. And then finally is the loan. That is your third and final contingency. A big misconception is some lenders who are less experienced, I have heard, will tell buyers, oh, if it doesn't appraise, we can say that you're not going to get the loan and we can cancel based on the loan contingency. That's incorrect. The appraisal contingency is separate from the loan. So if a property doesn't appraise and you say went into the transaction without an appraisal contingency, you may not cancel based on loan and cite the appraisal. That's a little bit in the weeds. If that was confusing, write a comment below and say, Josh, I didn't understand, do a better job, and I'll try. I probably won't, but I'll try. So the loan contingency is the lender saying, yes, we are going to fund this loan. When it comes time to close, we have vetted this buyer, we have checked their financials, we have checked their reserves, we have done everything in our power to make sure that when push comes to shove, because it's the lender's money that is going to buy this house on a financed property, the lender is going to fund the loan. The buyer comes to the table with their down payment. The rest of the purchase price comes from the lender. It all goes into escrow, and then upon recording, that is when someone at the county actually stamps the deed, and that's the moment that the buyer becomes the owner. Then the escrow company disperses the funds, and I buy you a fancy bottle of champagne or something, and you close, and everyone's happy. That is the process. There was a lot of content in there. If you have specific questions about anything I said, why don't you put a comment and then I will answer it specifically. Maybe I'll email you on the side if it's gonna be a little too nerdy. I don't want my new glasses today because this was a nerdier nuts and bolts sort of video. I hope you enjoyed. Please make sure to continue to watch, subscribe, check out our other videos, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.